Hello, my name is Jim, and I'll be your recovery coach. What are you recovering from? It could be drug addiction, alcoholism, a broken heart, a broken relationship, or it could just be a situation in your life where you feel like you've been stuck for a long time and you want to move on. Whatever it is, we'll talk about it here. Today I'd like to talk about what I call the theory of mirrors. And the question behind the theory of mirrors is this: how do we know who we are? And the theory of mirrors goes like this: we know who we are by the reflection of ourselves that we see in the eyes of others. That's an important concept, so let me repeat it. We know who we are by the reflection of ourselves that we see in others. Now, most of us were raised by parents, and if not parents, then by some other caregiver. Could be grandparents, relative, whatever. I'm going to use the word parents through here, but when I use that word, I want you to understand that it really could be whoever was a primary caregiver to you when you were young. And the difficult thing about being a very small child is that we're absolutely dependent on whoever our parents or caregivers are. They literally hold the power of life and death over us, so things that might seem small to an adult are extremely important to a child. And our primary way of getting to know ourselves as young children is the messages that we receive from our parents. If we're lucky, we grow up with at least one, maybe two, parents who are pretty whole, healthy, integrated individuals. And they're able to transfer to us as small children a sense of being a whole, healthy, fully integrated person. And we grow up to be a pretty good human being as an adult. The difficulty is that there's a lot of people out there who are really struggling and who may not have that capacity to give that whole sense of completeness to a growing child. Let me give you an example. Suppose as a small child you wet your pants. Okay, that happens often enough, doesn't it? You might have received a message from your parents that wetting our pants isn't what we're supposed to do. What we really want to learn to do is to go to the bathroom and use that appropriately. And they'll work with you to get to that point where you know how to do that and you have enough self-control that when you feel the urge to go, you know to get to the bathroom and drop your pants and do your business there. Okay? That gives you the message that wetting your pants might be a bad thing to do, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person. But what if the message you got was, you wet your pants, you're a bad boy? Or, you wet your pants, you're a bad girl? They didn't make the separation between what you do and who you are. So think of this as a very small child. If you had the parent who said, you're a bad person, a bad child, you were in a position of having this person on whom your life depended telling you you were bad. So to stay alive, you had to believe what you were being told. You had to believe that you were bad to continue to receiving the care that you absolutely needed. And you might have grown up your entire life with that sense that you're bad. That doesn't mean you are bad. It means that that's the message that you got. One of the things we learn is that we tend to consider whatever we grow up with as normal. And that can have some difficulties. For example, if one or both of your parents were alcoholics, then drink until you pass out might be considered normal behavior for you. It's only later that you discover that there are people whose parents don't drink until they pass out. That can be quite a revelation. So to get back to the theory of mirrors, if you're really lucky to have parents who were pretty much whole and complete individuals to raise you, then it's like being able to look in a mirror and you probably grew up with a reasonably accurate picture of yourself. The good news is that parents don't have to be perfect. What most kids need are parents who are good enough. And since most people, or at least a lot of people, grow up with two parents, they have two people who may be able to give that sense of being good enough to them that they can become reasonably healthy adults. They develop a self-image that is reasonably healthy. But what if you don't get that? What if you get a really different message when you're younger? For example, what if dad walked out on you because mom and dad got divorced when you were 5 or 6 or 7 years old? What message does that send you? If you're a kid and don't understand that moms and dads might have other reasons for breaking apart, you might get the message that I'm not good enough for dad to stay around. There must be something wrong with me. Or what if mom and dad drank a lot so that their moods were kind of in and out? It could be that they were able to give you one image of yourself when they were sober and a different image of yourself when they were drinking. And that might make you confused because you wouldn't really know who you are. So to get back to this theory of mirrors, I like to compare it to going to a carnival funhouse. Have you ever been in one of those carnival funhouses where they have these distorted mirrors? So you look at yourself and your head might be huge, or your belly, or whatever, and whatever it is, the image that you see is misshapen. And you might come away, just laughing because it seems so funny to see yourself that way. The difficulty is that if your parents aren't able to give you an accurate reflection of yourself when you were young, then you may grow up with an image of yourself that is the equivalent of seeing yourself in one of those distorted funhouse mirrors. You might really believe that you're a bad person, or that there's something wrong with you, or that there's somehow you're fundamentally flawed or not worthy. These are really, really hard messages for a kid to grow up with. And sadly, a lot of people grow up with just those kinds of messages. It's not that the parents are bad or trying deliberately to harm their children. What most often happens is that they simply don't understand the effect that their behavior is having on the children for whom they are responsible. So one of the things I'd ask you to think about is, do you believe that the message you got from your parents about who you are is an accurate one? Maybe you've reached an age where you're going like, wait a minute, I was given this one message about me, but I don't think that's quite true. The problem might not be me. It might not have been me all along. It might have been with them. If you have that sense that you were looking in a funhouse mirror when you're getting a reflection of yourself in the eyes of your parents, that could be exactly what's going on. And that could be why you feel like you need to numb yourself out or engage in other harmful behaviors. So what do you do if you find yourself in that situation? Well, the good news is that as adults, or as you get older, you don't need to have your parents be the one who can provide that accurate reflection of you. You may have a really good friend, a spouse, a lover, a companion, a teacher, someone who can give you a more accurate picture of who you really are and what you're really capable of doing and becoming. And then those people become very, very important to you because we need them to see an accurate reflection of ourselves in their eyes. For some people, they never quite find that person, but they find it in another way. There are some people who find that accurate reflection of who they are through spirituality, in the image they receive from God, however they conceive God to be. One of the important messages from all of this is that as humans, we really need each other. We're not really meant to be alone. And this need to be among other people stays with us our entire lives. One of the things you might notice is that even when religious people retire from the world by going off to a monastery or a convent, They don't necessarily retire into solitary confinement. Most often, they retire into community of like-minded folks, other people who may want to retire from the world, but they still interact with each other, and they still have the opportunity to get a reflection of who they are from the people around them within their spiritual community. Sometimes people complain about others being too needy, and I just want to point out that one of the things that doesn't change about us, no matter how old we get, is that we need each other. Each of us needs the opportunity to see that accurate reflection of who we are in the eyes of another. And if you are a parent or in a position to be a caregiver to someone else, either as a parent, grandparent, friend, lover, be careful. The image you give to the people around you, the reflection that you provide to them of who they are, is tremendously important. And the more that you can reflect back to them the goodness, the kindness within their souls, the more good that you will do for them and for yourself. I hope this has been helpful for you, and we will talk about other recovery topics in future videos. Thank you.